Welcome to another beautiful and sunny day in the east of Holland. My name is Reny, I'm a pagan from the beautiful country of the Netherlands. Today we are talking about runes. I'm going to explain how you can better understand the runes and specifically the Elder Futhark runes. There are actually 24 runes in the runic alphabet, and these 24 runes, they consist of 3 rows of 8 runes. Now every row has its own meaning, has its own deity connected to it, and in understanding it, you can get more out of your understanding of the runes, and you get more out of your rune pools and more out of your divination. Now, first of all, I don't consider myself a master of the runes. I don't think anybody should call themselves a master of the runes, but I'm studying the runes, and well, if you study something and you find something nice, I will share it here with you as I do today. For the people who don't know, what is a rune? That's actually a very simple question, but a very complex answer. A rune is a whisper, a scream, a mystery. A Dutch guy once explained it to me by calling runes the eeuwig levende tekens, which translates to the signs or sigils that live forever. Which tells you a lot, but somehow doesn't tells you a lot as well. It opens you up to the mystery that is the runes. Runes, of course, were given to us by Odin. He hung himself on the world tree for 9 days and 9 nights. And the funny fact is, I had somebody tell me that they scoured all the sources. Prose Edda, Poetic Edda, everything. Never once did it say that Odin, the god of wisdom, is the master of the runes. Why is that important? Because sometimes there are people who call themselves, I am the master of the runes. I know everything about the runes, so therefore I am its master. And I think if the god of wisdom, Odin, is not even mentioned as the master of the runes, what chance do we have as mere mortals? I don't think we can be masters of the runes. Me, well, I can tell you what all the runes mean. I can like paint them for you, but I'm not proficient enough in casting them and recognizing them and singing them and dancing them and standing them and doing the hand gestures to cast them. And I'm not bathing in them yet. Okay, enough about the runes in general. They're a sacred mystery. They're the building blocks of the universe. Now, we're going to use the Elder Futhark runes. That's the most used rune set for magic and divination. There are 24 runes in the Elder Futhark runes. Are there more runes than 24 runes? Yes, some sources say there are even dwarven runes, and different species have their own runes. Are there more than 24 for human runes? Maybe, probably. Let's not get into that for this video. Let's just keep it simple, because it's complex enough as it is, and start with the 24 basic runes. 24 is 3 times 8, and every 8 is connected to a story and is connected to a different deity. The first 8 are known as Freya's runes. Now I have to check my notes because I don't all know them in the right order. It's Fehu, Urus, Turias, Ansus, Raido, Kenas, Gebo, Vunyo. Those are Freya's runes. The second line of runes is known as Heimdall's runes. They are known as Haglas, Nautis, Isa, Gera, Ewas, Perto, Algis, Sovilo. Then the third one is Tyr's runes. Tiwas, Berkana, Ewas, Manas, Lagus, Ingwas, Otala, Dagas. We often think as the runes as just the signs. But the text clearly states that after Odin hung for 9 days and 9 nights, he screamed and he grasped the runes. So I actually think they're more of a vibration, they're more of a sound. And you notice that because when you start saying the runes, start pronouncing them, you invoke that energy. There's a magic in speaking the runes as well. So, it's commonly believed that the first set of runes, Freya's runes, they cover the basic necessities that you need in life. Like it starts off with Fehu, which is just possession, wealth, something beautiful. And then comes Urus, desire. And then you come Turias, you come to a gate. You stop because you can't get what you want. Then you get Anzus, which is messages from the gods or a higher plane. And then with that messages of a higher plane, you go to Raido, which is a journey. You go on a journey with the messages from the gods. Then the rune Kenas, which means wildfire, fire that you must master. It's the fire that can burn your house down, but it's also the fire that if you harness it, it can keep you warm in winter. It's the learning of skills. And in the learning of skills, you find Gebo, partnership. And once you have that partnership, you get Wunyo, which is joy. You know, just you've done the work, now you may receive happiness. So the way I tell you, it's like a journey. It's like a story. I often thought about that. Because this is a story, Freya's runes. And if you go to Heimdall's runes, you also find a story, but it's a different story. And Tyr is also a story, and together they're a bigger story. So I started meditating on like, what story are you? And the runes answered that they are every story ever told. Because they are the building blocks of everything. But this story of Freya's runes basically is about the basic necessities in life. Development of yourself, partnerships, messages from the other world. It's the basic stuff. The Heimdall's runes are about difficult experiences that you have to go through and unexpected beauty and unexpected good things that will also happen to you. And then you have Tyr's runes, and that's all about very deep things and the balance between the seen and the unseen worlds. And now I will discuss Heimdall and Tyr's because that's what they called. We're talking about the aettir of the elder futhark. So their rows of runes, I will discuss them. But all these runes together, I think they also tell a story. The first et of Freya is very beautiful and hopeful. The second one of Heimdall, I will tell the story now, is more difficult because it starts with Hagalas. I don't know if you ever pronounce that like that. Hagalas. Get scared when I say it like that. Then there's Nautis. Hagalas means destruction. Nautis means limitations. Isa means everything is standing still. Then Jera means that after everything's been limited and destroyed and standing still for a long time, after winter automatically comes spring. There comes just a good year. Then there's Ewas. Ewas asks you, should you let certain things go in order to let other things flourish? Which is a very profound question to ask after a Jera. To ask after you've accomplished so much. You can see that in your own life. Like say you want to be fit physically and you used to be fat. When you're fit and when you're really fit and you go like, I've accomplished my goals, the question you ask yourself is, now what? Now what do I do? That's when AWAS comes, because then you need to decide, okay, there are some things that I've accomplished. What can I let go? And where can I make space so other things can come? And if you make that space, what will come? Sperto, initiation. You open yourself up to the divine and you get initiated. But then you're totally open. What you need is protection. So you get Algis and then you get Soilo, the combination of the sun, of heaven and earth. Because that's what resides in you. Now, then you have, of course, like tiers 8 runes, which is the final set. But the funny thing is, if you understand these stories, when you do a rune pull for somebody, and there's a lot of runes that come out of Heimdall's runes, you know kind of where that person is sitting. There's a lot of Freya runes, you know that's just the kind of the basics of life, and you know that there's a lot of runes out of tier set, you know that there's some very deep things going on. To lubricate my throat. Now Tyr's runes start with Tiwaz, which is of course Tyr's rune, justice. Berkana speaks of a very soft learning and growing and understanding. You mean like Kenas is also learning, but it's like exciting and violent and dangerous learning. Berkana is very soft learning. Ewas and Manas, meaning motion and man, meaning your learning start to move. Lagus, meaning there's unity, there's flow. Ingus, meaning that you have now created all the right attributes, the conditions for fertility to arise. And when you do that, and when you stick with that fertility long enough, you get Otala, Odin's runes. After that, you get Dagas, which is the breakthrough that changes everything, which can also be seen as a death, because death is a door. It's a moment that changes everything. Now, funny thing is, I wanted to talk to you about stories, because this is a story. And like I said, on the one hand, understanding these aettir, these et, helps you understand the runes and get the most out of your rune pool. But understanding these stories, you know, of course I have my own thoughts about that. I don't know if you're familiar with The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell. Fascinating stuff to get into, because he's a guy who figured out that most of the mythological tales from the past and even now still follow basic rules. They follow the hero's journey. And to really simplify it, it's basically like the hero comes and he's comfortable, but he gets the call to adventure. And the hero doesn't want to take the call to adventure. He just wants to stay comfortable where he is. But the call becomes stronger and he has to go. So he just goes on this adventure. And he meets people who teach him stuff, and he gets better, and he learns about his destiny, and he learns to embrace his destiny, and it all seems really good until the second act. The second act is when the Empire strikes back, and he gets his ass kicked, and he doubts who he is, and then he falls and he stumbles, and then he finds himself again. And then he comes up again and he finally fulfills his destiny. He takes up his sword, probably his father's sword, and it's Return of the King. That's the story. That's every mythological story, even the modern ones. So, for instance, you could even see like Star Wars is, well, this is not my opinion. There's a lot of people online who weighed in on these. Like George Lucas, I believe, was also very straightforward, said that he wanted to create a modern space myth. So he loaned the building blocks of all great mythological tales and he put them in the 21st century. So with that in mind, it makes sense that Star Wars, the original trilogy, was 3 movies, because, you know, A New Hope was Freya's runes, the first set. The Empire Strike Back was Heimdall's runes, the second set. And the third movie, Return of the Jedi, that was Tyr's runes. Like I said, it's just one way of looking at it. But what I've come to know is that the runes are every story ever told. But maybe if we read them in the order that they were given to us. They tell us our story, the story of man. They tell us our mythological tale, they tell us our destiny, and they tell us they are the building blocks in the way they are constructed here. They are the building blocks of every story ever told, and therefore they are as much a part of you and me as the air we breathe. I hope you found this informative. If you do, please give a like. I'll see you all next week.